Hi, welcome to 2020 Tasty Treats with GourmetQuilter. I'm Susan Clare, GourmetQuilter, because quilting is delicious. And so I just would like to, we're starting on a new series in these 2020 Tasty Treats. We're going to be doing a mini mystery quilt. So it's not specifically mini, but it's a small quilt. And yes, it is a quilt, even though it's a mystery. I can tell you that much. And it's pieced, so I can tell you that as well. So this is part of, as I mentioned, the 2020 Tasty Treats series. There's more information on the website. There's a pattern that you can purchase with downloads for each day. This is day 1 out of 20 days, so there's 20 parts to this mystery. If you have already signed up, you will have already received the needs list, which tells you what fabrics I am using. It shows you a picture of them to give you some idea, but of course you can choose your own colours. So there's some information on the fabrics and things there. So we'll just get started, I think. So in this investigation, we've got quite a lot of things to uncover. As over 20 days, we're going to be quite busy, but some of the parts are fairly small, so you don't need to panic about that. And so what we're going to do is start off with, I'm suggesting you perhaps keep a folder to keep all your notes in, because sometimes you have to refer back to notes during an investigation. It's good to know where they all are. We have also got in our notes that have come out this time some labels so that we can label our evidence as we go. Now there's a spare sheet of labels here as well, because later on during the investigation you may find that there's more evidence that needs labeling, and then you can label it accordingly as we go. So this is the initial one for today. So today we are uncovering just the early parts of the evidence, and I've got most of it up here. So this is all the fabrics that I had shown in here. I've labelled them here as A, B, C, D, E, F, and so we've got labels accordingly, but this time we're going to cut them. So the beginning of the evidence, just that first piece of information that comes to us, is just a whole scattered lot of clues in the form of fabric strips in this case. So if you're getting the notes, you'll have all this information, and the notes will come through each day as we uncover another piece of the evidence. So if you're wanting all the details and things, I do suggest that you sign up with GourmetQuilter.com for the mini mystery. So we're going to be cutting. So I've already, as you can see behind me, cut quite a lot of mine. I've just left one of the fabrics to cut and label so that you can just see exactly what it is that I'm doing. And then I'm going to be storing my notes in my folder. So this is my fabric B, which is a sort of medium grey colour. So there are two sort of backgroundy colours. So I've gone for a lighter background colour here as my main background, and then in some areas we need another sort of background, so I've gone for this more medium grey. As I said, you can choose your own colours. You do not have to do the same colours as me. But there is a picture in those notes just to help you so that you get some idea of the contrasts and things. So I'm just going to start cutting. So according to the notes, I've got to cut some B1 and B2 pieces. So always I've got my fabric folded, it's the full width of fabric, and I've got it folded over twice so that it fits within my ruler and things. And I use the board a lot to help me cut things. So I'm just trimming off that very edge little bit, just so that I've got a nice straight edge to cut from there. And then B1, I've just got to cut a strip for that, and then I can label it. And for B2, I've got to cut some other strips. So I can just leave everything sit there because I'm using the board to help me with my measurements, and I can just come along without having to move the fabric and get all of those cut. And there is a little bit left over because sometimes there's little mishaps or something might change and we might need to delve back in. So save any pieces that you've got left over, but we'll get these labelled now. So I've left a couple of spaces up on my evidence board behind me so that we can put these up. So this one goes up in here, and B2 can go here. Now you don't have to have them on an evidence board, of course. You might have little bags, you might have a tray. I keep a tray for all my leftover type pieces in case I need to delve back into them. Plus, so some of the fabrics we've got here, the F fabrics, there's actually 7 different colours there of strips. And all the others I've just cut according to the cutting measurements in this part 1. And then we are going to be delving into a stash for small bits and pieces. They weren't enough to warrant having sort of larger quantities, they're just little bits and pieces. So I've got a little bundle of bits and pieces of small amounts of fabrics here. If you know about my leftovers pantry, your pantry would work really well for this. If not, just use your stash. And I just keep a tray of everything so that everything's all sorted in there. So I think that's pretty much it for this time. So go ahead, cut all your fabrics into the required sizes, label everything so that later on we can come back and we know that we want to go to perhaps number C1 or we want to get something out of D3. Everything, if it's all labelled, that makes it so much easier, and really evidence needs to be labelled, otherwise how would we know what it means? So go ahead, set up a folder, get all your fabrics cut ready, and then we'll start delving more and more into the investigation through the next part. So that was it for part 1, only 19 to go. Thank you.